The tempo of the city had changed sharply. The uncertainties of 1920 were drowned in a steady golden roar, but the restlessness of New York in 1927 approached hysteria. Wow, F. Scott Fitzgerald really, he nailed the feeling of that era, didn't he?
He absolutely did. That quote just sets the stage perfectly for what we're looking at today.
All right. So let's dive in because you've brought this amazing glossary of slang from the early 20th century U.S., mostly the 1920s, it seems.
Yeah, it's focused heavily on the Roaring Twenties. And it's incredible, like you said, how language can be a sort of time capsule.
Totally. It's not just, quirky old words.
No, it's a direct line. It helps us understand the culture, the anxieties, the big social changes happening then.
It really does. I mean, this glossary seems like a gold mine. It covers, well, everything. Bootlegging secrets, movie jargon, even how sports talk, bled into everyday chat.
Exactly. It's a way to get under the skin of that specific time through the words people were actually, using.
Okay, so as we dig into this, we should probably mention, and it's important for you listening, this glossary, well, it includes some pretty sensitive stuff. Ethnic slurs, words about crime, sexuality, some language that's frankly deeply offensive today.
Right. And our goal here isn't to, endorse that language or brush it off.
No, definitely not. It's about understanding it in its historical context, seeing what it reveals about the time, even the uncomfortable parts.
Precisely. It's historical interpretation.
Yeah.
We need to handle these terms carefully,
Yeah.
acknowledge the harm they could cause, but still try to grasp the society that produced them.
So this glossary itself, it was compiled to capture these informal everyday expressions from around 1900 to 1930.
Yeah, that's the period with a real spotlight on the 20s. And the range of topics is pretty telling.
You mentioned bootlegging.
Right. Which makes sense,
Mhm.
prohibition. But also crime, drug use, maybe hinting at things not always talked about openly. And then early filmmaking, firearms. And yeah, as we noted, those offensive slurs, prison slang, terms about sex, even descriptions of women's looks, and lots of sports metaphors creeping in.
It's quite a list. And when you start looking closer, you really get a feel for the era, like flapper culture.
Oh, definitely. The 20s saw huge shifts for women, and you can absolutely see it reflected in the words they used and the words used about them.
So the language didn't just reflect it, it kind of shaped it too.
I think so. The whole idea of the flapper, that, unconventional young woman, bobbed hair, independent spirit, that's right there in the language.
Yeah, like the word bob itself.
Yeah.
Just meaning short hair, especially that shingle bob.
Exactly. But then you also find these, counter terms.
Counter terms.
Yeah, like slapper. You'd think it means something else today, but back then, it meant someone against the flapper lifestyle, a reformer type.
Huh. Really?
Yeah, and Priscilla was the term for a more, traditional stay-at-home girl.
Wow. So those words really highlight the tension, the debate going on about women's roles.
Absolutely. It shows this push and pull between the new woman and older ideals.
Yeah.
These weren't just words. They carried, real social commentary.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit, you can't really talk about the 20s without talking prohibition.
Not at all. That ban on alcohol just created this massive underground world.
And the slang that popped up around it is just, well, it's everywhere in this glossary, right?
Oh, completely. The sheer number of words related to illegal booze just tells you how central prohibition was. It shaped everything.
So we've got terms like blind pig and blind tiger.
Yeah, both names for those unlicensed secret bars, speakeasies.
Right. And the alcohol itself.
Well, there's hooch, the contraband stuff. Bootleg as the verb for selling it illegally. Rum row, that was the fleet of ships parked just offshore loaded with liquor. And even busthead.
Busthead. Sounds ominous.
It was. That was the term for the really badly made, sometimes dangerous illegal liquor. Bathtub gin gone wrong.
Yikes. So this whole vocabulary, it paints a picture of just widespread defiance.
Definitely. Defiance of the law and this almost romantic idea of the speakeasy, the hidden nightlife.
Okay, so from that hidden world to maybe the more overt dangers of city life, crime slang.
Yeah, the glossary is packed with it. Terms for criminals, for the police trying to catch them. It gives you a real glimpse into that underbelly.
So police officers were bulls or coppers.
Right, and jail was the hooskow.
Hooskow. I feel like I've heard that in old cartoons or something.
Probably. And a pickpocket was a dip. Someone buying stolen stuff was a fence. A troublemaker was a hoodlum.
And some of it sounds pretty rough, like a bump off or blip off.
Yeah, meaning to kill someone or knock off. That could mean stolen or killed.
And getting thrown out was the bum's rush.
Exactly. It's very direct, isn't it? Kind of stark. It really gives you a feel for the tougher side of urban life back then.
Yeah, no kidding, no. We touched on this earlier, but we should probably circle back to the more uncomfortable slang. The stuff reflecting bad attitudes, stereotypes.
Right. It's important to address it. Historical language, unfortunately, often carries the prejudices of its time.
We see that clearly here. Awful ethnic slurs like bohunk, kike, and even Jim Crow car, referring to segregated train cars.
Yes, stark reminders of the systemic racism of the era. And there are other terms reflecting social biases, too.
Like apple knocker for someone from the country.
Right, a country bumpkin, basically.
Yeah.
Or bloated aristocrat for a rich person. And the term Airedale for an unattractive man, which seems oddly specific and unkind.
It does. And understanding these terms, well, it helps us see the social hierarchies, the prejudices that were just there. But again, understanding isn't excusing.
Absolutely not. It's crucial to be clear on that. It's about acknowledging the past, not condoning it.
Okay. So moving to maybe some lighter stuff. The glossary isn't all heavy, right? There's everyday slang, too.
Oh, loads of it. And some of it's really fun, actually. This is where you see the more playful side, the informal chat.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Okay, well, if you had a bad idea, you were all wet.
All wet, okay.
And nonsense was applesauce.
Applesauce, I like that one.
Right, and you'd shout, "Attaboy,"
Yeah.
for encouragement. If you were walking somewhere, you might ankle over.
Ankle over, huh.
Yeah. A blow could be a big party, or spending way too much money, feeling anxious. You were in a blue funk.
Blue funk. Still kind of get the meaning of that one.
Totally. If a place had no booze, it was bone dry. A dumb guy was a boob.
Okay.
If things were great, they were copacetic.
Copacetic. That's a classic.
Isn't it? Getting dressed up was getting dolled up.
Still use that sometimes.
We do. And the warning, don't take any wooden nickels. Basically, don't be naive.
Love it.
A man was a fella.
Yeah.
Your best clothes were your glad rags. Being smart or aware was being hep.
Hep. Like hep cat.
Exactly. Coffee was Joe.
Still.
Right. If something was attractive, it was keen. If you knew your stuff, you knew your onion.
Your onions.
Money was lettuce. Your name or nickname was your moniker. A loser could be a palooka.
Palooka, yeah, heard that.
Showing off wealth was putting on the Ritz. A woman might be called a Sheba. Something great was swell. And the genuine article.
The real McCoy.
The real McCoy. It's amazing how many of these have, like, echoes today or have stuck around in some form.
It really is. It shows how some slang just lasts. But then slang also changes super fast, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And that's interesting, too. We looked at a more recent source that mentioned how slang cycled through much quicker today.
Like a societal need for speed.
Something like that, yeah. It's a real contrast to the 1920s slang. Some of that faded, obviously, but quite a bit lingered, as we saw. Today, it feels like things come and go much faster. Maybe it's social media, the pace of culture.
Could be. It's like slang has a shorter shelf life now. And you mentioned another modern source, a slang dictionary.
Yeah, one aimed at helping people understand language kids use today, sometimes in difficult contexts, like potential exploitation.
Wow. So slang is still this really dynamic, sometimes coded way people communicate.
Exactly. It's not just history. It's a living thing.
Yeah.
Still serving all sorts of social functions, sometimes really important ones.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it's just so clear that the slang from back then, the early 20th century, it's this incredible window.
It really is. Into the social scene, the culture, the history.
You see the rebellious side, the flappers, prohibitions, shadow world.
Mm-hmm. The grit of city life. And yeah, those prejudices we talked about too. It's all in the words.
And while some of it sounds quaint now, or just plain offensive,
Right.
It's amazing how other bits have survived. It shows how language evolves, but also holds on to things.
It's resilient, isn't it? Communication finds a way.
It really makes you think, though. What about our slang today? What does it say about us right now?
That's the question, isn't it? What preoccupations does our language reveal?
Yeah. What current applesauce might actually tell future historians something important about us? Will any of our words give people 100 years from now a similar kind of glimpse into our lives?
Definitely something to ponder.
Yeah.
What will be our real McCoy for them?